so hopefully I'm not covering my microphone this time. But I want to head out into Michael's because I'm decorating for Christmas, and I want to show you guys all the projects that I do. So one of the things that I like to do is going into the craft store and buying stuff that is past season, because when the season is over, they will discount it up to 70%, sometimes like 50 to 70%, sometimes even more. So I like finding things that are not seasonal related, but that the craft store has labeled season. For example, I have these wooden beads that I got from Hobby Lobby, and they are marketed as fall. So when Christmas time comes around, they discount them because it's fall. Well, I like them year round, and that's what I'm doing right now. I'm going into Michael's to see if anything from the fall season it's marked down, so that I can repurpose it into the decor that I am trying to work with, or just to decorate my house year round. Fun fact, actually, we did our wedding ourselves. Everything was DIY and it was on a budget. So what I did is that we got engaged on November, and then around December, past Christmas, and like raked out whatever was on clearance, like 70% off from Christmas items that I knew I could repurpose for the wedding. So there were some tassels, some ribbons, some florals. During Christmas time, you'll find a lot of white, red obviously, but white, gold and silver and stuff like that you can definitely use for weddings. Obviously you wouldn't choose poinsettias, but you know what I'm talking about, like certain decor that you can use because of the color theme. So I had a white, green vintage theme, and that worked out just great. I actually wanted to make a video and I never did, so if you guys still want to see it, let me know and I'll put it up someday. Alright, so first things first, we gotta get everything down from the attic, and Cora's gonna go up there, and I am on kitty duty, so I'm holding him because little mama big papa likes to climb up the attic, and then he'll just chill up there, and we have to wait until he decides to come down. So I was watching him, and then I was catching essentially all the stuff that Corey was handing down. So it was a lot of stuff, and after I dragged everything in, I gotta tell you guys that I ended up only using about 25% of it, because I finished decorating and for some reason I wasn't feeling anything from last year or the previous years. So I fluffed up the tree, I set everything up, Sterling and Biggie came and helped me, and when everything was done, I lived with it for a couple days, and then I decided that what I had in mind was something else, and that's what we're gonna do next. Also, if y'all noticed, we ended up changing our entertainment center in the middle of this, so there were two. The white one that is really rustic was behind the more modern one that we just finished building, and so the house was complete chaos, guys. I ended up changing everything around in the span of 2 weeks. But back to our project. So these are the beads that I was telling you about that I found labeled fall decor, and I used them for this craft. You can also buy them from Amazon or Joann's or your craft store, but I like this because they were all the same size. And then I also bought these big ones. They were in the jewelry section, but you can buy any different color, a different shape, a different size, something to kind of create a pattern and give it some interest. And so once I had them all lined up and figured out what I wanted to do, I just used my jute cord and just made a garland. You just kind of put them in there and create the pattern that you want and keep going until you're satisfied. Finished with the garland, I decided to use this yarn to make some tassels and give it a little bit of coziness. So what I did is I cut a piece of cardboard and wrapped the yarn around it like 15 times, then cut a different piece, looped around one side, then cut the other side and kind of fluff them out, make sure they're all straight, grab another piece and wrap it around like I am doing here. This is going to create that little kind of ball looking thing at the top of the tassel. Once I did that, I kind of trimmed it a little bit just to make sure they're all even and it looks, just nice. Give it a little haircut. And then I used a bobby pin to kind of loop around that one twine inside the knot that I had done, just because it kind of sticks out. I don't know if that makes sense. Like it doesn't lay flat, and I wanted it to go inside the knot per se, so that they wouldn't be just loose. And that's what I'm doing here. And once I had all these adorable tassels done, I added them to the garland. So I put one on each end, and then I spaced them out evenly throughout the garland. Just however you see fit. You may need more, but you can always make more if you need them. So my beautiful garland is done. My next part of the tree decor is inspired by this photo. It's all the rage this season. People are putting their Christmas trees in cute little baskets, and I have my own version of that. I had found this bucket at a garage sale for $2, and it's all wooden, so I picked it up. I knew I was going to use it for something super cool. So I took all that galvanized stuff out because that's not my style. It's too shiny. I wanted like a rustic look, and to do that I used a JRV stencil, and this one is called, what is it called? Farmhouse? No, Farmhouse. I can't remember. I'll put the name in here. And so I taped it around. Usually I don't tape my stencils, I just wing it, but because it's a curved surface, I taped it around so it wouldn't move on me and I would have a crisp image. Then I used my paint, dive in the excess of the paint and using it just almost dry so that you don't have a lot of bleed through under your stencil. Stencil it out. I actually did 2 coats of this to make sure it looked nice and opaque. And it looks like this, guys. It came out so pretty. I actually sanded off the shine so it looked more natural, and I love how it turned out. So next project, we are going to be inspired again by the Scandinavian look. I found these ornaments on Pinterest, and I wanted to do my own version of it. And instead of using that ball ornament, I wanted to make some little Christmas trees to go with it. I am going to be using this modeling material that I use for a lot of my crafts. You can also use paper clay, you can use air dry clay, salt dough, whatever. I don't know what other people use, but this is what I have on hand. So I made little squares, and then I'm going to cut the squares into triangles and try and form my little Christmas tree. But in typical Blanca's fashion, after I did it this way, I realized that there was a better way to do it. And so instead of having to cut the little squares and attach them together, I decided to flip my cutting mat and use those lines that you see that are angles. So I'm going to place my modeling material between those angles, roll it off, and then kind of flatten it up with my hands. I don't care if it's even because it's kind of like a rustic handmade look. So I'm just pushing it in and using my little putty knife to cut the shape of a triangle, and then I'm going to cut the little pieces to make a little Christmas tree. So it was a lot faster and a lot easier. So I ended up making, I don't know, about a dozen of this. I didn't want to overwhelm my tree. So once I had cut them up, I used a little skewer stick to kind of make a hole so I can put my string through it when I was done. And this is what my version looks like. Little cute Christmas trees, and they go with the entire decor. Next thing is that I used this wool, and this is a different kind, but it was so beautiful and fluffy. Again, I want that cozy feeling on my Christmas tree. So I used this to wrap it around the Christmas tree like a garland, and you'll see right here towards the bottom of that tassel where that is. And that is it, guys. That is the final product. I made this Christmas star, and I'll show it to you guys on a different video, but it turned out so pretty, natural, minimalistic, and I love it. I love it. I even put Corey's Power Ranger in that Christmas tree. But if you like it, stay tuned for the next video. I'm gonna make a couple of these until I finish my decor. See y'all later.